Every time you walk down the health food aisle and pick up a jar of coconut oil, you believe you are making the ultimate choice for your longevity. But what if that expensive jar of liquid gold is actually a silent delivery system for toxins and industrial contaminants? We have been told for a decade that coconut oil is a miracle, superfood capable of boosting metabolism and sharpening the brain. Yet a dark reality hides behind the glossy labels of some of the world's most popular brands. Most consumers are completely unaware that the very oil they use to sauté their vegetables or blend into their morning coffee might be processed with chemical solvents like hexane or derived from moldy, decaying coconuts that have been chemically bleached to hide the rot. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on the industry to expose the 9 coconut oil brands you should avoid at all costs, and the only 2 brands that actually live up to the hype and deserve a place in your kitchen. Starting our countdown at number 9, we have the ubiquitous Kirkland signature, organic virgin coconut oil, which is a staple in millions of households due to its massive size and incredibly low price point. While the label proudly displays the organic seal, the sheer scale of production for a warehouse giant like Costco raises significant questions about quality control and long-term storage stability. Large batch industrial processing often leads to a higher risk of oxidation, meaning the oil may already be slightly rancid by the time it reaches your pantry, which creates inflammatory markers in the body rather than reducing them. When you buy in such extreme bulk, the plastic tub itself becomes a liability, as fatty acids are notorious for leaching chemicals from plastic containers over long periods of time. Moving to number 8, we find many of the store brand or great value refined options that dominate the bottom shelves of local supermarkets. These oils are almost always labeled as refined, bleached, and deodorized, or RBD oil, which is a massive red flag for anyone seeking health benefits. The refining process for these generic brands often involves high heat treatment that strips away the polyphenols and medium-chain triglycerides that make coconut oil valuable in the first place. You are essentially paying for a dead, processed fat that has lost its biological activity, and because these brands source from multiple low-cost suppliers, the consistency and purity of the oil vary wildly from one jar to the next. At number 7 is Crisco's entry into the coconut oil market, a brand historically synonymous with hydrogenated trans fats and industrial vegetable oils. When a company built on highly processed seed oils jumps on the health trend, skepticism is mandatory because their infrastructure is designed for mass refinement rather than artisanal extraction. Their coconut oil products often lack the robust nutritional profile of truly cold-pressed oils and frequently lean on the RBD process to ensure a neutral taste, which is often a mask for lower-quality raw materials. Choosing a brand with a history of industrial food processing usually means you are getting a product optimized for shelf life and profit margins rather than your cellular health. Number 6 brings us to brands that use expeller-pressed labels without clarifying the temperature of the extraction, such as some of the mid-tier commercial brands found in conventional grocery stores. While expeller-pressed sounds natural, if the friction during the pressing process generates significant heat, the delicate fatty acids begin to break down before the jar is even sealed. Many of these brands do not disclose their heat thresholds, leaving you with an oil that has been thermally damaged, which can lead to the formation of harmful free radicals when you use it for cooking. If a brand isn't explicitly stating cold, pressed, and providing transparency about their sourcing, they are likely taking shortcuts that compromise the integrity of the oil. Occupying the number 5 spot are the liquid coconut oil, products that claim to stay liquid even in the refrigerator, which is a complete violation of how natural coconut oil behaves. To keep the oil liquid, these companies put the oil through a process called fractionation, where they remove the lauric acid, which is the most medicinal and antimicrobial component of the coconut. Lauric acid is exactly what you want for immune support and gut health. So by purchasing a liquid version for the sake of convenience, you are paying a premium for a stripped-down version of the product that lacks the primary ingredient responsible for its superfood status. For number 4, we have to talk about brands that still use copra as their primary source, which is the dried meat of the coconut, often left out in the sun for days or even weeks. In tropical climates, this drying process frequently leads to the growth of toxic molds and aflatoxins, which are dangerous compounds that must be removed through heavy chemical refining. Any brand that does not specifically mention using fresh coconuts is likely using this dirty, industrial copra, meaning your oil has been through a chemical wash just to make it fit for human consumption. This is why some cheap oils have a strange chemical aftertaste or an unnaturally white, bleached appearance that looks more like candle wax than food. Coming in at number 3 are brands that package their coconut oil in low-quality plastic jars while claiming to be premium or extra virgin. Coconut oil is a powerful solvent, and when it sits in plastic for months on a warm store shelf, it can absorb phthalates and BPA from the packaging. Even if the oil inside was originally high quality, the container ruins it, turning a health food into a source of endocrine disruptors that can interfere with your hormones. Truly health-conscious brands will always prioritize glass packaging to ensure the purity of the oil remains untainted from the factory to your table. Number 2 on the avoid list involves brands that engage in greenwashing by using deceptive terms like pure or all natural without any third-party certifications to back them up. These brands often hide behind beautiful packaging featuring tropical beaches, but refuse to undergo independent testing for heavy metals or pesticide residues. In many regions where coconuts are grown, environmental regulations are lax, and the soil can be contaminated with lead or arsenic, which the coconut tree absorbs. Without rigorous testing and transparent laboratory results, you are gambling with your health every time you take a spoonful of these unverified oils. Finally, at number 1 of the brands to avoid, we find the copra-derived refined oils that are sold in large metal drums or unlabeled containers in bulk sections. These are the lowest grade of coconut oil available on the market and are often intended for soap making rather than ingestion. They have been subjected to the most extreme chemical treatments, including the use of sodium, hydroxide, and phosphoric acid to strip away impurities and odors. Using this grade of oil for cooking is a recipe for internal inflammation and oxidative stress, completely defeating the purpose of choosing a healthy fat for your diet. Now that we have cleared the path of the pretenders, we must look at the 2 brands that actually set the gold standard for purity, ethics, and nutritional density. The first brand, worth every penny of its price tag, is Dr. Bronner's Whole Kernel Organic Virgin Coconut Oil. What sets this brand apart is their whole kernel approach, which means they leave the thin brown inner skin of the coconut, known as the testa, intact during the pressing process. This results in an oil that is significantly higher in antioxidants and minerals compared to white kernel oils. Dr. Bronner's is also a leader in fair trade practices and regenerative organic agriculture, ensuring that the soil the coconuts are grown in is nutrient-dense and free from synthetic chemicals, which directly translates to a more potent and medicinal final product. The second brand that stands at the pinnacle of quality is Nutiva Organic Virgin Coconut Oil, specifically their cold-pressed and glass-jarred varieties. Nutiva has built a reputation on extreme transparency and a commitment to never using chemicals, bleach, or high heat in their extraction process. Their oil is derived from fresh coconuts within hours of being harvested, which preserves the delicate flavor profile and the full spectrum of medium-chain triglycerides. When you open a jar of Nutiva, the aroma is light and fresh, not overly toasted or chemical, which is the hallmark of a truly raw and alive product. By choosing these 2 brands, you are not just buying a cooking ingredient, but a functional food that supports your heart, your brain, and your metabolism without the hidden baggage of industrial processing.